But look, hey, speaking of my guy, Mr. Sam Howell, our head coach, Ron Rivera, unfortunately, has been he just comes outside of his mouth with some stuff that I'm just like, come on, Ron, just stop, just stop. Let's get into these recent comments that he made. Quote: I kept saying F. If I wouldn't have known this, I would have played him sooner. When you only have so much time to show, it's hard. I kept thinking, God. But after the game, everything told me this kid, give him the opportunity and see what he does with it. Ab, I'm going to come to you first. What when you hear these comments from our coach talking about our now starter about last year, what do you think, man?
I I'm trying to tell you, like, I think Ron is like a front office man. Like, um, I'm so past him missing talent. Like, like it's so irritating to me, and it's kind of crazy that he's always like after the fact, like, oh yeah, like this is something like I'm sorry. Like I misspoke. I am just irritated with how he is not able to identify talent when it's there, right there,
Mm-hmm.
and in time to take effect to change the season right
Right.
there. And that is just what bothers me a lot about him.
Yeah.
He's in the front office. If he was like GM, I think that's more of a fit for him. I think he did great for changing the culture here, but he needs to stop that coaching for real.
Mm. And at the very least, he just needs to stop running his mouth. I mean, Will, I don't know what to say because, like Ab said, like he's in there. You see it every day, and you're telling me you didn't see this, and more so, you're telling me that you didn't see that he was better than a guy you knew had limitations and a guy that you were scared to even put out there. Come on now. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just a terrible statement. It's another terrible statement. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I've forgotten what we talked about that he said. But it was along the lines of like just making headlines when you don't need to be making headlines. And there's nothing really to talk about right now besides the 53-man rosters and Jonathan Taylor wanting out of Indy. And now he goes and inserts himself and says some stupid things. And I think it's just Ron just doesn't seem to really have grasped how to speak with the media and how to say what you need to say, but not too much. And like, I could have answered this question a whole lot better. I could have said, yeah, Sam did not get a lot of reps with the ones last year to really show us what we could do. We knew we saw him he was accurate in practice. He had a deep ball, but, and he worked on his footwork, and that was the whole thing that they were concerned about. But he could have just said, we really didn't give him much runs with the ones at practice to really see how he could operate the offense. And so he impressed us that day. You could have just said something like that. And it's a whole lot different than sitting there going, wow, we had this guy the whole time. Why didn't we play him more? It's like now, like to Ab's point, it's like now you have to question, do you know the talent in your building, if that's the case? And then the other thing about it that kind of just like confused me about this is Sam Howell showed potential in that game. But let's also not forget that we had a pick six on defense and a fumble recovery. So it's not like our offense just dominated the game. He showed potential to say, hey, this guy has earned the opportunity to compete next year. And that's about as far as he got last year. So Ron's comments just seem to kind of just go off the rails a little bit there.
Yeah, to me, it's just if Nathan was here, he'd be like,
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, you know what it almost seems like? It almost seems like one of those things where a reporter comes in and Ron just thinks, oh, we're off the record, right? We're off the record, and just speaks freely. Yeah. And it just speaks out of his mouth, and then you're like, and then he's surprised. Like the comment he made last year about, oh, we're in the playoffs? Like, that's not something that you say over on the mic that's being recorded. Right. Like, Ab, to your point, man, like, I love him. I want to be, shout out to our guy Anton. I want to be moral support. I want to jump on this guy, rah rah. But at the same time, you're like Will said, you're creating more issues than we need.
To me, I kind of wish he had more accountability for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I never really gave him a chance. Or, like, I was committed to Carson Wentz. So I didn't even look his way. Like, if it was something like that, then we could be like, okay, Ron, we see what you're talking about. That's understandable, like, and everything like that. But he just kind of seems like he's like,
Yeah. Ain't all with it. Nathan said also doesn't help when they asked him at the presser about being eliminated from playoffs. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. It's odd. It's odd to see this, and going forward, I guess my big issue with this whole thing is it wasn't this whole mystery. They gave out a report last year on what was going on. They said Sam wasn't ready. So that to me kind of makes it seem like, well, now are you just don't know what you're saying right now. Like somebody just take the mic out, take the mic. What do we used to say back in the day? Like, you lost talking privileges. Like you're muted right now. Just stop. You know what I mean? Between this and then I think you were talking earlier, Will, about the comments with towards Eric Bieniemy and about all that. Why?
Yes.
Things look good. There's a new energy. It's a new day. Why? All this extra stuff. So
yeah. But I'm hoping, just to your point where I already forgot what was he talking about before, that's what's going to happen here. The season's going to start in a week. We're going to forget about this. It is a little bit of a blip right here, but I think ultimately it will go away. And I don't know, maybe there's some gamesmanship Ron's trying to do out here. Maybe he's trying to take the heat off something. I don't understand it. I can't explain it, but I don't know. Maybe there's a method to what he's saying. I hope there is.
I can't call it. I'll tell you that right now. I can't call it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.